We are joined here today by head baseball coach Michael Cordero. Coach Cordero, thank you for your time in our weekly coach interviews. And just wanted to give a quick background about who you are. 15-year career in baseball. Coach Mike has coached 11 times in the postseason, winning 6 league championships. He's helped over 60 players move on to play in college and has had over a dozen players play professionally. Coach Mike here received his BA in marketing from Upper Iowa University and currently holds a master's of science in physical education from Azusa Pacific. Now, Coach, I always start off these interviews a quick checkup, a general check on how you're doing. How is the family doing? How are you guys coping with the pandemic, with the shutdown, with the quarantine, depending on what phase we're on now? How is everyone doing on your side?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Bo. Yeah, on our side, my family, I think we're doing well. I mean, it's a roller coaster, I'm sure, like most families. And when this first happened, it was pretty emotional. My oldest daughter was in 5th grade, and she missed out on her week-long science camp where she was gonna get to go with her friends. So she missed out on things like that. My first grader missed out on a bunch of milestone field trips, and you're dealing with the children and helping them cope through it and helping them understand what's really happening. That's a challenge as a parent, and try to keep the normalcy. And then you go into that little high, and then all of a sudden summertime, it's we're usually vacationing, and it's like, why are we still in the house? And we just can't do our routines. But I think we adjusted well. My wife and I invested in a movie projector and a screen, so we do weekly movies outside and barbecue and popcorn. My wife bought a pool, a big giant pool that pretty much keeps me busy, above ground pool. And the girls are doing well with the transition to online school this semester. They got kind of used to it, so we're happy about that. We were a little concerned about it, but our school district's doing really well with it. But for the most part, our kids are doing well. And me, man, I'm just today I was telling my daughter, like, I'm just so bored today. All I can think about is fishing and whatever I can do. I'm thinking about taking up some hobbies, doing some flying drones and just looking into things. But I've been fishing my whole life, and I went on a fishing trip last 2 weeks ago. And every day since I got back, that's all I can think about is this fishing. So
absolutely. No, I mean, it's definitely different times, and trying to adjust into activities and trying to find something to get busy with, because being indoors for a little over 6 months now, it does catch up, and it will catch up. I mean, I'm the perfect example of it. I was talking about earlier. It's just trying to be active. I mean, it's one of those things that, whether it's school, whether it's your kid activities, whether it's family activities, everything gets affected, and you have to find ways in order to keep them busy. Well, let's get into it. Overall, before the season ended, 14-7-1. You guys were 5-1 in the conference. And before the season abruptly ended, it looked like the team was finally getting to the swing of things, no pun intended. I believe, if I recall right from my notes, you guys had won 4 in a row, outscoring your opponents 33-10. How disappointing was that all of a sudden, all right, we're getting it now, and then all of a sudden everything just full stop right there? How disappointing was that? And before we even get to that, what was the turnaround? And tell me a little bit about the season. 14-7 is a good record. Tell us a little bit about the team and how you guys were doing.
That's pretty typical for a Chaffey team. We get a really late start. We start on the 15th, and most teams are practicing as a class before that. So, we went to war against Cyprus with only being on the field for 7 days as a team. And the year before, we were only on the field for 9 days, and we beat Cyprus. So a lot of it is just, really trying to build a team culture in the fall, keeping it game speed. We call ourselves predators on the hunt at Chaffey. So everything we do is about sharpening our skills, learning how to be a Chaffey Panther, learning how to be a predator, and then just really taking advantage of opportunities. And so we try to instill that in the fall. And When you have a 2-month break, pretty much, we finish up right after Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
We have 2 months, and then we're on the field for 7 days, and we say, hey, we want you to play the number 2 team in the state and beat them. There's really no excuses. Like, and we tell you, there's no excuses. We don't use that. Oh, we've only been on the field 7 days. It's like, well, our mentality is we've been doing this nonstop, 365. 365 days a year. So that's the big thing with us. So when we came back, us trying to reinforce that mentality and culture, it took a little bit of time. And we always tell our guys, hey, we want to compete at a high level. I don't expect you guys to win. We got, I think it was 16 non-conference games. If we go 500, I'm ecstatic, because when you looked at I'm not sure if you looked at our schedule, it was probably one of the toughest schedules.
Yeah, I have.
And we're playing top 20 teams, and I think for three of the 4 weeks, we played 4 games a week.
Yep.
Our guys were exhausted, and it took a little bit of time to get in there. And our mentality is, hey, we got to catch up. We're not going to take it light, because we intend to come in and win our conference. And our goal is Fresno, or wherever the state championship is this year. Who knows? But or next year.
Yeah.
But that mentality. So it takes a little bit of time for us to get into that stride. I think it takes a little bit of pressure off our guys, because ultimately we want to win our conference.
Yeah.
And I learned this from my mentor, Scott Pickler at Cypress. Basically, like, hey, we want to win the conference, but the end game is we want to win. We want to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And the playoffs is where the real season happens. So we have 40 exhibition games, 40 preseason games that we have to figure out a way to master our craft. What is our style of hunting? We tell the guys.
Mm-hmm.
How are we gonna accomplish this goal? So we have 40 non-conference games as our exhibition. We figure things out, and it's really a matter of how we finish. And if we win conference, outstanding. If we make the playoffs, that's exactly where we want to be. Because in my experience, I mean, schools like Cypress finished 5th in the Orange Empire and won state.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at Fresno State, was in 2008 when they won it. So, it doesn't. You don't have to do that. It's ideal, but it's all about how you package it, how we really emphasize our mentality.
Absolutely. And I think you mentioned it right there. One of the impressive things that you were mentioning there. I mean, I'm ready to play for you right now. It's like, hey, let's get after it. Let's go. Hey, we can't talk about Chaffey College without highlighting the year that Elias had. I believe we'll talk a little bit more about it later. He's committed to Northridge. Tell us what made Elias so successful, and what a tremendous job the program developed him into. I know we talked a little bit about it, but tell us a little bit more about it. He led the state in strikeouts with 69. Closest to him was a player out of Santa Rosa, I believe, with 57. How impressive was this young man? And tell us how you guys were able to develop such an amazing player.
It was really neat to watch Elias over the last 2 years grow. Like I had told you earlier, he was unrecruited out of high school.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who he was. He's a very humble kid. And he came to us with, just, how do I do this, coach? I have no idea how to get to the next level. And he was basically a blank canvas. We came in and were like, hey, just listen to us, trust our program, buy into our process. And in the end game, you're going to end up where you want to be. So, in 2019 as a freshman, we were loaded with pitching. We were all freshmen pretty much too. I think we only had one returner coming back. And we kind of threw him into the fire. It's like, hey, he didn't believe he was our best guy, but we told him he was, and he had some good stuff. And his stuff wasn't all that great in 19. It's just we had to teach him how to compete and how to be fearless. And then, he came in this year kind of not knowing what was going to happen. He didn't have any offers exactly. I honestly thought that he was going to be an early sign in November. Nobody believed me. It didn't really happen because his velo was down. It was one of those things like, do we take a shot at a kid that's 5'9", 150 pounds?
Sure.
But if you watch him, his mechanics were clean. clean mechanics. There wasn't really any mechanical issues where you would see injury in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
There was only projection for Elias. You know, he had tremendous arm speed, very clean mechanics. It's just that he's in a small package.
Mm-hmm.
And so once we got him to buy into our weight program, which is, I think that's the main thing for him, is at Chaffey, we have a fantastic weight program. Our strength coach is Phil Roberts, and he's a full-time strength coach.
Yeah, you guys bulked him up quite a bit, did you? A healthy bulk is what you guys did over there. How many pounds did you put on him?
About 15 pounds of muscle.
Oh, solid. Yeah, that's great work. That's not easy to do.
No, it's not. I mean, he came from a place where he'd never even been in the weight room, really.
Wow. Okay.
And I was joking on my life, man. You came in here, you know, a little runt, and now you're leaving like a supermodel. Like he looks like he started modeling. He's all cut up and has a six pack now, and you know, his lower half looks really good. He's, you know, it's just like he just really developed, and a lot of it has to do with Coach Roberts, our strength coach, and
that's important. In any program, it goes hand in hand. Success of the program, success of the players, also at time starts with a strength and conditioning staff, and it's great to see that. And thank you for giving credit for those guys in the strength room, because they put in a lot of work in order to put that 15 pounds of solid, healthy muscle as opposed to 15 pounds of something else. So definitely cool that you're giving them the credit for that.
Yeah, and I think with that, you know, we taught him a slider. He was throwing a curveball that was loopy. We taught him a slider. He had the arm speed for it. I don't know what his spin rate was. You can ask our tech savvy coaches, assistant coaches.
Yeah.
But once we taught him the slider, Zuko Tillman actually helped teach him the slider. Zuko was our big left-hander, was hurt this year, but he's also going to Northridge.
I was about to say that. He's another one that's going to be headed with him to Northridge.
Yeah, Zuko's good. Zuko's up to 92. And we chose to sit him down. He was having some elbow issues. He could have played. He wasn't shut down by a doctor. We decided he had bigger and better things. You know, that's kind of how we work here. We just, you know, we didn't want to throw a guy in there and possibly injure him, and then he can't play. But I think once Elias learned the slider, his strikeout numbers exploded.
Sure.
And I think he was leading the nation at one point, Bo.
He still is. Well, he was before
the COVID. I think the guy that finished on top of the nation got one more game in.
That's definitely not fair. Hey, Coach, I know we mentioned that Zuko Tillman and Elias both headed to Northridge. You got Danny Mendez headed to Fullerton. You got Jason Dumont headed to Point Loma. Jared Billen headed to CSU San Marcos. And Johan Castillo headed to Georgetown College. What is the one factor or element that you would say about your program that, you know, with the 13 years of experience that you have from high school to D1, you know, you've developed this solid reputation of advancing players to continue their educational athletic career to a higher level. What's the secret to your success, and how important is that with your program currently here at Chaffey?
I think the big thing with us that helps our success is we develop student athletes. We really pride ourselves in our ability to do well in the classroom. And I believe if you do well in the classroom, that shows you have aptitude. You can put things into play immediately.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's a correlation. The good students in the classroom is able to retain information on the field, remember things on the field. You understand process. So we really try to emphasize, you know, doing well in the classroom. The goal here at Chaffey this year is every year is to have a 3.0 team GPA. In my last 2 years, we had a 2.9 and a 2.8 GPA overall. We had, I think there was 5 academic All-Americans this year for us. We had 14 guys with over a 3.5 GPA this year. That's the big thing with us. And so, you know, I've been a Division I coach before, and the main thing and I think that's what helps too, is being a D1 guy, you have tons of connections.
Sure. I
don't oversell anybody. I'm not calling schools, you know, Arizona State when the guy can't play at Arizona State.
Yeah.
You know, I've sent guys to places that we know they're going to be successful and they're going to make an impact in that program, and ultimately they're paving the road for the next guy.
Yeah.
And so we send guys to places. We constantly talk about your ability to apply the information, and that's what makes a Division I player.
Yep.
I've been doing this for 15 years. I've had over 75 guys play at the college level.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 60 guys at the D1 level. I've had 12 guys play in the College World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 2 guys win a national championship that come out on my program. So when you leave our place, you have this hunger to play at a really high level.
Sure.
I had a guy that hit the game-winning home run that's in Indiana and Omaha. Mm-hmm. And, Tracy Smith and I are buddies because, I've sent them players. I'm not going to send anybody anywhere that I don't think that they're going to be successful and
Sure.
the school's going to benefit. So when you establish that reputation and I tell our players, like, hey, give me your list of your 5 top places. And I will tell you straight out if I think you can play there. The game's going to dictate what level. You might be a D1 guy. You might be Cal State Fullerton D1. Or, you might be a school in the East Coast that's a high academic school. So,
sure.
Like Jason DeMont ended up at Point Loma, but he had an offer from Georgetown University and the actual Georgetown, the Hoyas.
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19, he should have been an LMU this year, but COVID-19 basically put a roadblock in him going D1. And he ended up at Point Loma with a really good package.
Sure.
And he got everything he wanted. Academics, he was a 3.9 GPA guy, got the academic school. I think Point Loma probably got one of the best defensive shortstops in the state.
That's awesome.
So that's the big thing with us.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're saying that because oftentimes I see where the coaches kind of create this false sense of reality, in a sense of not necessarily looking out for the best interest or where that player fits. For the sake of saying that I have X amount of players at these D1 schools, but yet do they actually fit within that system or within that school when they could have gone to a D2 in which, like you mentioned, where they can flourish, where they will become better people at that school. So I'm so glad you said that. That's definitely a great thing to hear, Coach. That's bravo for the program doing that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's our big thing because we always ask you guys, like, what do you want? Oh, I want to play for a national championship.
Sure.
Well, you can't play at Arkansas, but you can definitely play at Trinity College in Texas. And that's one of the conversations I have with a couple of players. And these guys played in national championships and have won national championships. That's the big thing. It doesn't matter what level, man. It's tough to win a championship.
Oh, I bet. But yeah, hey, if instead of UCLA, why don't we take a look at San Diego State? Or that's no offense to San Diego State by any means or any other schools, but different players fit in different programs. And for you to be cognizant of that and asking them, saying, hey, what are the schools that you want? And giving them the reality check of, well, hold on. This is actually where you fit in and where you're going to become a better player and person. That's great. Hey, Coach, how does the team look going to 2021? And with that being said, how has the recruiting been? The returning players, incoming players, and back to recruiting. How has it been challenging with all these new COVID rules? And gosh, January comes around. I know we have a January date that we're all supposed to expect, but how are we looking next season?
You know what? I mean, so we moved on 13 players to the next level. We moved on pretty much our whole pitching staff. We had
excuse me,
Ryan Buckley, who's going to University of San Francisco, and we sent off a couple of guys. 13 guys. I don't think there's very many schools, junior colleges that sent that many guys off. So we're a little depleted in the experience department. We lost a lot of our top arms. We lost Jared Billen and we lost Buckley and Zuko and Hadagi. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be like 19 again, where we got pretty much all freshmen coming back. But that's the name of the game. Like, we're in the business of moving players on to the next level, and we'll win championships in the process. So,
of course,
my staff and I, we decided that was the best thing for the players. So, but we are returning quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
We're bringing back Brad Chesterton, who led the state in runners caught stealing in 19, and he was battling some injuries last year, so he didn't really flourish. I think this year he's going to have a massive year. We're bringing back Eddie Peachman from 2019. He got injured last year, so he'll be back. We got Sergio Ramirez coming back, probably one of the better defensive outfielders in Southern California. We got quite a few freshmen who return, COVID freshmen we're calling right now. Gio Delgado and Jared Buhanda. So we got some really talented guys returning that were starters for us. Darren Taylor's another guy who played first base for us. One of our best bats returning next year. But in the pitching department, we got some really good freshmen. Andy Smith, our recruiting coordinator, went to town and brought in about, I would say about 9 quality arms that we think would be good.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We got a couple of bounce backs from Division IIs. We got a guy, Joel Tornero, that's been up to 91, left-hander from a transfer from a D2. He's been up to 91. We got Andrew Tovar coming in from San Bernardino. He's going to be really good. Another left-handed bat, left-handed arm. So we're really excited about some of these arms that are coming to Chaffey from the D2s. We got a few freshmen that we're really excited about. Just yesterday, I saw on Twitter Joel Gaitan, one of our guys from Rancho High, hit 93. So we're excited. We got some quality arms.
You guys are reloading right away.
We don't call it rebuilding; we call it reloading. We're reloading every year.
Yeah, and then once you guys get your philosophy and that mentality of being a predator that you guys, try to inject in these guys, it's going to be amazing. I mean, I love it. Like I said, I'm ready to play for you. I might have a little bit of eligibility left, but that's great. That's awesome. Hey, Coach. Again, thank you for your time today. And before I let you go, one last question for you. During this lockdown, we've all learned to value something a little bit more than we did before everything shut down. What would be that for you? And also, do you have any message for your returning athletes and also players that are coming in as far as how to prepare themselves for 2021?
I think obviously this shutdown has put a lot of things in perspective. If you look at it on the glass half empty perspective, it's like, why is this happening? What are we going to do? But to be honest, I'm enjoying being home with my kids. I'm enjoying being home with my family. It gets tough. Some days I just want to, scream and just run out the house. But
yeah.
How often does a college baseball coach get, 6 months with their family, let alone, 3 weeks with their family?
Wow. Good point.
Uninterrupted. So it's enjoyable, being here for my kids and cooking for them and stuff like that. And, I wish we can get out and do more, but
yeah,
that's one of the silver linings of this whole thing. And so we've been talking to our players because we're trying to instill this culture. How do you instill culture with these guys without even seeing their face in person? So we've been doing our Zoom calls through our baseball class, and that's kind of our theme, is taking advantage of this opportunity, see it as an opportunity to grow and experiment and work on some things that you've wanted to work on. And we've been telling our guys, like, your mentality and your mindset is you are preparing while you wait, right? Don't be the guy that's just taking 6 months off.
Yeah.
You got to be preparing while you wait.
Yeah.
And this can transition to, if you're a role player for us and you're not in the starting 9 every day, how are you going to handle your preparation on the bench to be the guy that hits the walk-off pinch hit home run? That's the big thing with us, is this could be a major mental toughness challenge for you. How are you handling it? How do you handle injury? How do you handle, setbacks, things like that? This is, an opportunity to see how you can grow. So that's the big thing. I think that's the takeaway that we've been really trying to focus on, Coach Smith and I, in our Zoom meetings with our players. And we're in week 2 of it. So hopefully it's kind of tough to see the reactions, but hopefully we'll see if it sticks come January when we get on the field.
Well, I think it'll separate, the players that, like, who are the superstars, depending on how much time you put in, how much you buy into the program, the program's philosophy, your mantra, and what you guys teach. So, Coach, I sincerely thank you for your time. we got to do this again. So
Absolutely.
maybe in about a month, we'll call each other again and check in. And interesting to hear and see what your next set of recruits are going to do this season.
All right. Thanks, Bo. Appreciate your
Oh,
time.
thank you so much, sir. We'll talk soon.
All right. Go
Okay.
Panthers.
Yes, sir. Bye bye.
Bye.